Thank you so much, and welcome everybody to our Office of Career and Technical Education Advisory Board meeting. I am Harmony Little, Executive Director of Credentialing Strategies at KCTCS, and I serve as your chair. We are grateful for everybody taking the time to be here today. We normally meet for an hour and a half, but today's meeting is a new format that we are trying to see if we can get through. I'm going to ask Reagan to do a roll call. As we have so many new members, it would be great that when your name is called, if you're not already on camera, if you can pop on and introduce yourself, your name, because it may not be written, where you work, and what your position is. Reagan, can you call roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Representative Bobby McCool. Senator Jimmy Higdon.
Yes, Jimmy Higdon here, Kentucky State Senator. Glad to be here today. Thank you all.
Thank you. Senator Max Weiss. Deputy Secretary Beth Brindley. Marcus Rogers.
Yes, ma'am. Marcus Rogers is here. I'm a business teacher at Taylor County High School and first year as part of the committee. Thanks for having me.
And a teacher of the year, I will add for you. Heather Elder. Mike Stone.
I'm here, thank you.
Hope Harp.
I'm here. I'm Hope Harp with the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters Apprenticeship Fund.
John Phillips. Mike Hesketh.
Hi, I'm here. Mike Hesketh. I am president and owner of Superb IPC, an industrial powder coating operation located in Shelbyville, Kentucky. First year on the committee.
Thank you. I apologize for saying your name incorrectly. Harmony, you are here.
Yes, and I believe I've already introduced myself, but if you joined after I did, I am Harmony Little, Executive Director of Credentialing Strategies at KCTCS. My memory does not allow me to tell you how many years I've served on this, but I have been part of this board for a number of years, and it's a pleasure to serve with you all.
Alashir Burikanoff. Mark Martin.
Hello, I'm Mark Martin. I'm the superintendent of Meade County Schools. This is my first year on the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. Look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacy Thompson.
Hi, I'm Stacy Thompson. I'm the principal at the Greenup Area Technology Center, and this is my first year too, and I'm super excited to be part.
Pam Todd. I see that the Deputy Secretary Beth Brindley has joined us. We'll go back to you on a roll call. Would you introduce yourself and who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Beth Brindley, Deputy Secretary of the Education and Labor Cabinet and Acting Commissioner for the Department of Workforce Development. Good to be with you all. Sorry I'm late.
Glad to have you. All right, we're on to our student members and representatives. Anna Muse. Are you with us? What about Janae Allen? That concludes our roll call. We very much appreciate you all being here, busy going into the holiday. Thank you. Turning back over, Harmony.
Thank you, Reagan. I appreciate it. Is Interim Commissioner Kinney with you all in person, or is she online?
She's right here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're grateful that you're able to join us at this meeting today and look forward to your report. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Chair Little. It's a little awkward because I keep wanting to look up at the big screen to see your faces, but I think I'm supposed to look this way so that the camera can get me. But nevertheless, it's a pleasure to join you all today. My name is Robin Kinney, and I was appointed as the Interim Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Education on September 30th. And so almost 2 months on the job, and have found it to be very challenging but rewarding at the same time. I'm pleased to be here with the Career and Tech Ed Advisory Committee today. I wanted to share a little bit about my background and let you know why I feel Career and Tech Ed is so important to opportunities for our students in the Commonwealth. I have had a long career. I think someone on the roll call said something about so many years being on this committee. I feel the same way in my relationship with state government in general, but I started out actually at the Cabinet for Economic Development many years ago, and that's where I first heard in a very organized fashion that the best thing that we can provide to our business and industry is a qualified and educated workforce, and a heavy emphasis on educated. And so learned early on that that is where we always need to look as we're preparing our students for that next career path, wherever it may take them. But I've also had the pleasure in working with Career and Tech Ed here at the Department of Education. For the last 8 years, I've worked in a capacity in the Office of Finance and Operations. And in that capacity, I get to work with a lot of the fine people that are to either side of me here at the table, and their predecessors on really trying to advance career and tech opportunities for the Commonwealth. In my prior role, I worked and helped support the folks here in Career and Tech Ed in a variety of capacities, from personnel, capital construction at the FFA Leadership Training Center, and then also that very important budget, which we are so thankful to the General Assembly, of course, of the increased funding that Career and Tech Ed has received in the recent past, and really just hope that we can continue that momentum on behalf of our students and our staff. So I've always had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hargis and her staff. They're wonderful people to work with. And for our new members that may not know, they are very, very strong advocates on your behalf. So you can feel very assured that that our staff here work very, very hard to make sure that our students and staff get all that they deserve, and all that we can do to move Kentucky forward. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you today. And I'm going to stay and listen in for the rest of the meeting so I can learn more about the things that are going on in Career and Tech Ed. And I'll turn it back to you, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Interim Commissioner Kinney. We greatly appreciate not just your words, but your support and ability to stick around. It says a lot. We're grateful. So next we need to approve minutes from May 11. They should have been sent out as part of this meeting notice. And per protocol, we need to have a motion to approve them and a second, and then we will do a roll call vote if there's no discussion.
Mike Stone, move.
I make a motion. Sorry.
Mike, why don't you go ahead and make the first one, and Beth, Commissioner, you can second it.
Perfect.
Will do. I move for approval.
All right. And it sounded like Deputy Commissioner Brindley agreed to second it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask Reagan for another roll call vote.
Representative Bobby McCool. Sorry, I should start with who's here only. Senator Jimmy Higdon.
Aye.
Beth Brindley.
Aye.
Marcus Rogers.
Aye.
Mike Stone.
Yes.
Hope Harp.
Aye.
Mike Hesketh.
Abstain, I was not present.
Harmony Little.
Aye.
Have we had anyone join us that was not present for introductions? Okay. All right, Harmony.
All right, if my math is correct, it sounds like the meeting's minutes passed. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have Dr. Hargis, who's going to give us an update, and then I'll ask her and each subsequent presenter to pass it on to the next person that is on the agenda for a smooth transition.
Thank you, Harmony. All right, so I have some staffing updates, and I'm actually going to start with the one that we didn't list because we are so sad about this. Larry Garrity, who is one of our division directors, will be leaving us the end of December and will be transitioning into retirement. So I'm sure some of us are a little envious of that, but I know he will miss us, and we will certainly miss him. But we have a wonderful replacement, and that is Beth Ingalls. She is actually in place now, serving as director of the Division of Technical Schools and Continuous Improvement. We have also added a middle school career studies person, Sharon Collins, health sciences consultant, Joyce Parker, computer science consultant, Nathan Little, assistant data manager, Sarah Robbins, and a Perkins consultant, Mary Lou DeHart. So we do have a lot of new people with us, especially throughout the COVID period, but we are so glad to have them in place. Everyone has just come on board and fits right in with our team, and so we are going to be stronger because of it. So, and now I will turn it over to Tom Thompson.
Good afternoon. I'd like to share just a few things that are going on in our division of student transition and career readiness. If you could change slides, please. Just one reminder, December 1st is the deadline for programs to be affiliated with a CTSO. If they're not, they won't be able to receive federal funding. So if you know folks that are in CTE programs, they'll need to make sure they do have affiliation. I wanted to throw that out since this will be out in the public and floating around because we don't want anybody to miss that deadline for sure. Next slide, please. So for our division, lately we've been working on a supply chain management pathway. We had MBA Research help host a futuring panel where we brought in business and industry folks to tell us exactly what it is they want to see in a supply chain management pathway. We've talked about logistics a lot. That word, a lot of times they're used interchangeably, but in this case, we felt like supply chain management is a bigger piece. And logistics is just a smaller part of the supply chain management in general. We put that task force together, and we're currently working on a 4-course sequence. Two courses we currently have in business, and then we're developing the other 2 based on what it is business and industry wants and those standards around that. And so we're excited about that work. It's already in the program of study. Hopefully we'll have everything in place to roll out for the 24-25 school year. Next slide, please. Some of our work around the ESSER dollars, a lot of it has been put into CTE showcases and into helping students progress in career and technical student organizations, in particular going to state and national competitions. Moving forward for the remainder of the funding period, we'll have summer leadership camps in June of this coming year. Marketing CTE month in February, mini grants for local advisors for judging state competition, mini grants for CTE showcases. And originally we had larger showcases, but the last showcases we've been having are specific to those individual career clusters in those areas. So, and again, we'll be spending that money again on national conferences for the travel, making sure we can get our students there. Next slide, please. Just an update on the FFA Leadership Training Center. We've been doing a lot of work there. We just completed a 5-cabin renovation in June of this past year, currently planning on 10-cabin renovation. And once we get done with that, we'll only have 5 more cabins left. And all 22 will either have be a new cabin, which we have 2 new cabins, or completely renovated with actual insulation and heating and air conditioning, which is something that it didn't have in the past. We plan to address the remaining 5 cabins. Like I said, currently we're in the design phase of a new activity center to replace the old administration building that was there in 1961, built in 1961. Next slide, please. This was just a picture of several pictures of the old FFA Leadership Administration building. And if you look at it, you can see it's kind of dated, dark. When you walk into it, it smells like my great-grandmother's attic, literally. And if you notice, there's a picture in the top right there of an air conditioner window unit. You kind of get the idea. So if you go to the next slide, please, you'll see that we're going to demolish the existing building, and the new building will sit on that footprint. It'll just be about 10 feet forward toward the parking lot, and in the back, it'll be open. Like the activity center part of it will have garage doors that will roll up or fold up. We haven't decided on that yet. And there'll be amphitheater seating in the back so they can have venues there. We didn't want to hinder the existing transition from building to building, so we were kind of hopeful that there'll be still this pathway that students will travel, but they'll travel through that building or the opening whenever the doors are all open and that back area is free to move about there. So we're kind of excited about that. And then next slide, please. This is what the front of it will look like, hopefully. Again, we're still in the design phase, but this is kind of what we've landed on. It'll have a 2-story foyer when you walk in the front with a registration desk, open meeting spaces on the right-hand side, and on the left, there'll be a classroom in there that's kind of neat looking with it. Restrooms, and in the back of it, you won't see, you can't see it here, but in the back where that open door is, it'll be, I won't say a gymnasium, but it's an area for activities and really a multi-use program area. I think that's it. All right, Larry, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, sir. So for the past year and a half, I've been blessed to work with our 50 state operated area technology centers. And so we're going to highlight 3 of the schools, and also want to highlight our ATC Student Advisory Committee. Our school leadership team worked together to identify 7 different students from 7 of our ATCs, so we can get that student voice. We're actually going to meet with them next week virtually, and just looking forward to getting to know them and how their ATC has impacted them, and how they're being involved in their ATC and their CTSOs. So we have Gracie from Estill County ATC, Jada from Russell ATC. We have Bailey from Murray Callaway County ATC, Shay from Caldwell County RCC, Michael from Breckenridge County ATC, Bethany from Rock Costal County ATC, and Kendra from Monroe County ATC. So we're very excited to have them on board and to engage with them beginning next week. Looking forward to that. Our ATC theme for this year, noted it down there in the bottom right-hand corner, is Train Today, Own Tomorrow. We worked with our principals and the leadership team to develop a theme, and we've had students in schools design some different graphics, and we're going to be highlighting that next week at our principals meeting, and also you'll see some of that on Twitter. Next slide, please. So our first school I'd like to highlight is the Lake Cumberland Regional Career and Workforce Center. They have developed a profile of a student working with their staff and their partners. So they use the acronym CASH, which stands for Characteristics, Attitudes, Skills, and Habits. The staff will focus on embedding these critical skills in the classroom to help students be successful in their future. So each 9 weeks, students will be evaluated using a rubric over these skills, just as an employee would receive a performance evaluation. This rubric will score students in one of 3 categories: unemployable, employable, and sought after. We hope to demonstrate the importance of these skills and how they will exponentially increase opportunities for students as adults. So we're hoping this will catch on with our other ATCs, but they've kicked this off, and it's begun this school year, so we're excited about that. Next slide, please. We've had a big promotion this year since we've come out of COVID to really work on developing our CTSOs and increasing membership and increasing engagement. This is an example of, when I say CTSO, it's one of those acronyms, Career and Technical Student Organizations. This is a highlight of Estill County ATC HOSA. They had the privilege of hosting the 2nd annual breast cancer awareness ceremony at the Estill County Courthouse. This is a newer ATC. I believe this is their 3rd year in existence. So you can see the students are very engaged. They organized the event, they spoke at the event, and just promoting breast cancer awareness did a fantastic job. And the whole purpose of our CTSOs is to take the classroom out into the community and to develop those leadership and those networking skills. Next slide, please. And our final slide, we're going to focus on Barron County ATC, their Skills SA chapter. So their chapter's really grown this year. 94 members were involved in this community service event at Barron River State Park. They try to focus at least one day a year on a community service activity. They did an excellent job working with the state park to do community service work there. Superintendent Bo Matthews has been very involved. He actually spoke at their meeting last week, came to the ATC and spoke to those students and encouraged them and those leaders. So we're thankful for that. And we're thankful for the leadership at Barron County ATC for promoting Skills Just Say in community service. Next slide, and I will turn over to Reagan Satterwhite.
Thank you, Larry. I have the privilege of discussing the Office of Career and Technical Education's legislative priorities and initiatives as we are quickly approaching the start of the 2024 budget session. I know that we have several new members on this committee. At our last meeting in May, we really looked at our proposal in depth for CTE funding going forward, but I still do want to give just a brief background because of those new members. And if you do have any questions, I'm happy to take those at the end of these couple slides. One of our biggest priorities, not only in the OCTE, but from the KDE, as superintendents, our General Assembly, and our business and industry partners is the adequacy of CTE funding. Prior to the budget year 2022, career and technical education in Kentucky was historically underfunded. Our state operated centers, currently we have 50 of those, were funded with state dollars, as well as about 42 local area vocational and education centers, 42 LAVEX. And that was not all of the LAVEX. We had several more on a wait list to receive funding. In the 2022 budget, career and technical education received a very large investment from the General Assembly. They increased CTE funding by $58 million. And so that has really addressed the biggest hurdle that we had in regard to funding in Kentucky, which was the adequacy of funding. And so since the 2022 budget session, all CTE programs in the state have received state funding. Our next priority, now that we have adequacy in our funding, is to work towards equitable funding for state-operated centers and locally operated CTE. This brings forth an initiative that we have been working on for months, years actually, in codifying a new career and technical education funding formula. Our first goal is to codify a formula that will fund state-operated and local centers equitably, regardless of how many CTE programs are in the building. Our kind of motto for our office is a welding student should be a welding student and receive the same amount of funding no matter where they are sitting in that classroom in the state, if it's a locally operated program or a state operated area technology center. And that same goes for all of our CTE programs and pathways. Another goal that we have had is to ensure emphasis on indicators of high quality career and technical education, that we not see these courses simply as fun electives, but they are truly preparing students to be prepared for the skills that our business and industry partners need and are looking for in Kentucky. Our General Assembly has also been very vocal that they would like to see kind of a performance based metric in our funding formula. And so we've worked to do that as well. We would also like to simplify the technology so that career and technical education is easily understood in our state and that we have common language amongst everyone that's involved in our CTE community. We're going to have just state CTE and local CTE moving forward. And lastly, we'd like to leverage our federal dollars. Kentucky gets Perkins funding from the federal government for our CTE programs, and we want to make sure that all of our programs are in compliance with federal funding in addition to receiving their state funding as well. We have made significant progress on this initiative when it comes to codifying a new formula. We are continuously building capacity with our General Assembly members, even those that are on the state board, have provided recommendations and are in support of our proposal. We met last week with the superintendents on their superintendent's webcast, and we've met this morning, even this morning, with the Kentucky Association for School Superintendents Director, Dr. Flynn. We have established a CTE funding committee, which provided specifications on what an equitable CTE formula would look like in Kentucky, and how it would provide incentives for high quality CTE and incentivize schools that are doing the right things for their students. We have secured bill sponsors both in the Kentucky Senate and the Kentucky House, and we have submitted a bill draft to the General Assembly, and we expect to see that draft introduced as a bill in the upcoming general session. Just to break down just a little bit of what this proposal looks like, we have $70 million of state CTE supplemental funding that we have included in our formula for all local CTE programs and state operated CTE programs. That $70 million would then be split into two categories. 60% of that $70 million will be allocated based on weighted full-time equivalent of students. That's student enrollment, number of students that are in programs. And then 40% of that $70 million would be set aside for incentive funding. We have determined 4 incentives that will be a financial bonus for schools and programs. The first one being a student who is a concentrator or has taken 2 courses in a 4-course pathway sequence, a student who has earned CTE dual credit with a grade of C or higher, technical skill attainment, so that would be a student who has passed an industry certification on the Kentucky Workforce Innovation Board's valid industry certification list, or passed a CTE end of program assessment for articulated credit at the post-secondary level. And then the 4th is work-based learning participation. So students that are enrolled in a career and technical education work-based learning experience in a co-op, in an internship, or in a registered apprenticeship. A student would be able to earn multiple incentives for their program. We love this aspect about the funding model because it incentivizes to keep pushing a student to stack their credentials, which we know if a school is student-centered, the more of those incentives that a student can earn, the more prepared they are for post-secondary in the workforce.
Senator Higdon has his hand up.
Senator Higdon, I was informed you have your hand up. Would you like to make a comment or question?
No, I just have a comment. I've been very supportive of equal funding and really excited to see that we're starting to work in that direction. I think every school should be, no matter what their label is, equally funded, and every student have the same opportunities. My goal one of these days is that we have everything under one umbrella. No ATCs, no LAVACs, just Kentucky technical centers, and we're, like I said, where everybody's under the same umbrella, and we don't have this back and forth, LAVACs, ATCs, and who belongs to what, just everybody under one umbrella. But I know that's a long range and a sore subject for some people, but that's what I would like to see. And I'm supportive of the funding it would take to make that happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Senator Higdon. Obviously, your guidance has been very valuable to us as we put this together, and we're glad that you think equability in the funding metric towards the centers is a step in the right direction.
Senator Higdon,
thank you.
I will also say you should be pleased. We are trying to do away with that LAVEC acronym. So if all goes well, we will no longer use that, and we will simply say career and technical education or CTE. So hopefully we'll be able to erase that one from our guidebook.
Step in the right direction. Thank you.
Just some other components of the bill draft that we wanted to highlight. The bill draft will specify that this funding is intended towards making the student's experience in their pathway a high quality experience. That means that the student should have access to industry standard equipment, The students should have a multitude of resources, materials, and they should also be supported in their career and technical student organization participation and leadership opportunities. We will be able to monitor that as a department and ensure that schools are truly spending CTE dollars on CTE kids and at the kid level to make sure their experience is enhanced. Another thing that we've heard great feedback from schools is that the mid-year adjustment will be eliminated. Schools will receive a budget at the beginning of the year, and that will remain their budget so that they can plan and budget appropriately for that school year. Districts will also be able to apply for approval of the funds to use for middle school CTE programming. The 2022 funding matrix did not allow for middle school programming. It was important at the time to use the funding on bringing up our current classrooms at the secondary level to industry standard. Going forward, districts will be able to submit a plan, and if that plan shows alignment to the high school pathway or career exploration opportunities, then that will be approved. And lastly, to qualify for state funding, programs must maintain federal Perkins funding eligibility. We only have a small handful of programs in Kentucky right now that are not eligible for Perkins, and we're working closely with those districts so that they do qualify going forward. Some other legislative priorities that we have on our radar and we think are important to career and technical education is first, our office has in, or the KDE has in a request for an additional budget request. We would like to provide 4 regional CTE consultants at the local level. We have some regional consultants over the area technology centers, and another step in the right direction of making all programs equitable would be to also provide that to our local CTE programs. We also have an additional budget request in to participate in a federal pilot program for our JROTC programs. We were approached by the federal government with an opportunity to partner and create a director of Army instruction at the state level that would provide guidance to all of our currently standalone junior ROTC programs. We have 62 standalone programs in Kentucky. Lastly, we're not aware of anything specific that we expect to see in this upcoming session, but we know that there's a lot of communication out there around the need for support for any viable teacher recruitment and retention legislation. And if it's viable, we would definitely support that. We know that oftentimes in career and technical education, we hire occupation-based teachers, and sometimes it's a challenge to recruit from business and industry for high quality folks to come into the classroom. And we would also support any viable teacher apprenticeship funding legislation. So I know it will be a big session for not only the budget, but for education. And we're happy to support our teachers in any capacity that we can. So I'll turn it over then if there are any questions about the funding formula or any of our legislative priorities.
And again, the format for today is a little bit different because we do have several new members. So we wanted to open the floor up to you. We do not want this meeting going forward to be a sit and get. You know, when trying to be good educators, we know that it's better when the students, or in this case, the committee actively participates. So we would like to open the floor for any questions or feedback that you have regarding anything that you've heard today or anything that you would like to bring to the table.
I'm happy to get the group going so we don't have to sit in uncomfortable silence. First of all, thank you for the awesome update. You and your team have certainly been hard at work, and it shows. And I echo what you say. You know, we try to make these meetings interactive. You know, pre-pandemic, we used to always meet in person, but then we got used to doing this. And because of travel distances and being able to have a robust committee, we've decided to keep on doing this. But I hope that doesn't preclude people from participating. So to my question, you know, I love anytime we can collaborate on dual credit and make that intentional for students. And for those committee members who do not know, one of the roles I serve in my function at KCTCS is to oversee our dual credit program. So I love that that's one of your performance funding opportunities, but I am curious if we are doing anything as part of that mechanism to avoid what, we call random acts of dual credit. Is there opportunity to ensure that the dual credit student takes is meaningful and count towards their post-secondary goals?
That's a wonderful question, Harmony. And as you know, I've had the opportunity, the pleasure of working with Harmony and some others over the past couple of years, actually, regarding the dual credit and the intentionality of that. And so, Tom, do you care to weigh in on our new, our career coach and how that person perhaps can assist with this?
So sure. So recently we've hired, and I can't announce just yet, but I will over the next week or so, a new career advising coach, and this, or career advising counselor or consultant, and this person will work with school districts K through 12. And when I say K through 12, when we're looking at the elementary, we want to expose students to career exploration, or at least some idea of what careers are out there. And then middle school, we'll hone that a little bit more with exploration. And through this process, when they start into that secondary piece, it's our hope that this person can create resources and tools and training and be in the school districts to help them to align the work that they're doing to the dual credit opportunities and what those students are wanting to do post-secondary. And when I say that, I'm including dual credit in that, and it's my hope that the random acts of dual credit would be, I don't think it would be eliminated, but I think in the process of it, it could at least be narrowed down a little bit to make sure that we're aligning our dual credit with our post-secondary aspirations. So, I'm probably preaching to the choir whenever I say this. Not everybody goes to college. Some of them go to other post-secondary pieces like apprenticeship, for example, and the dual credit may not be aligned to that specifically. But if they're going for a 2-year degree, obviously it would be. And that's my hope, and that career coach's toolkit, I guess, that will eventually be created in support of those students in schools.
And then Harmony, I'll also just add that we hope we see less random acts of dual credit. As you know, we really encourage schools to make their dual credit part of the student's pathway. We hope that things kind of play in together. One of the things we are also incentivizing is a student being a concentrator in a pathway. So at the same turn, if you're incentivizing a student to stay in a pathway, also incentivizing the student to take dual credit that's in that pathway kind of goes hand in hand. And actually, while we're on the subject of dual credit, I realized that I forgot to mention something that affects your world of dual credit, is that we have had conversations about the need for cleanup language around Senate Bill 150 that caused a few issues with some of our dual credit courses, some of our health science, some of our family and consumer sciences courses, with the parental permission. And so we expect to see some cleanup language, as we know that some members of our General Assembly have said that they were aware that there were some unintended consequences of that legislation.
All great news. Beth Brindley has her hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Quick question, was there any consideration when looking at incentives, as one being in regard to pre-apprenticeship? And if so, I'd love to know some thoughts and rationale for not considering that as one of the incentive opportunities.
Deputy Secretary, pre-apprenticeship is represented really in the 4 incentives because it is on the valid industry certification list. So
thank you for that clarification.
So while it's not, in that work-based learning incentive, it is representative in the technical skill attainment.
Thanks for that clarification. Much appreciated, Ray.
Great question, because we know that's very important to incentivize as well. Any others? We have a couple hands up, yeah.
I think Mike, I'm sorry. go ahead.
It's Hesketh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm new to the group. I've been very involved with Shelby County Schools in our area technology center for years. We employ students in work-based learning as welders, industrial maintenance, and just general production workers if they're not sure of a specific pathway, just to get some work-based experience. I don't know if I can speak for other business folks when it comes to CTE, but the structure of the state and the school district is very confusing to someone like me. I don't understand how CTE and the regular curriculum within our school kind of mesh, and how students, I've heard things like they take classes as electives, concentration within makes perfect sense, but I don't know how that all works. How does do some students just explore and they take a class and then they might take another class? So my question is, can I get a copy of the slides? Number one, and then number two is it okay that I take these slides and sit with our Shelby County CTE folks? And I don't want to take the time with this committee, but before we meet again, I'd like to spend some time with our folks who will help clarify all this for me.
Absolutely, and that you bring up a really good point. I mean, and we understand, when you're not working in it on it, each and every day, how that can become convoluted. In the perfect world, there is a great deal of collaboration between the academic teachers and the CTE teachers, so that you're actually teaching, say, math through that CTE lens. So we have a lot of students that, they may not understand Pythagorean theorem, but they can understand the rise and run of a roof. So we feel like it works best. They complement each other. And then in the hopeful perfect world, all of our courses that we have those academic components within them. I don't know that there's always, and this is just the way it is, I don't know that there's always the intentionality of it being presented that way, but it is something that we strive for. And does anyone else want to add in?
I'll just add that we also have some interdisciplinary courses in the CTE realm. We have some of our career and technical education courses that can count for a math credit, and there's several examples of those. And so it varies district to district of whether they choose to allow those as interdisciplinary courses to count for both graduation requirements. But we always are available for guidance if we want to look in depth at that, at a district's kind of master plan. Yeah.
I'd like to point out just one other thing, that we do have a set of standards called the academic employability standards. There's quite a bit of math in that and employability skills that are sprinkled throughout each of the pathways too.
It all sounds outstanding, and I'm a huge believer in work-based learning and applicable education learning, and moves towards work-based learning and the community schools initiative, and all of these things are fantastic. And I'm eager to help in the process of giving the message to the business community about this kind of good stuff that's going on in our schools, because I know they all also believe that while we 100% support those who continue to post-secondary education, college isn't necessarily, as you said earlier, for everyone. And there are great alternatives right here that you all are making possible in a very strong way. And we want to support it. But I think there's a lot of community folks that don't know how and don't understand. So I hope to help in that process.
Well, Mark, I see your hand up, but if you'll allow me Chair's discretion just to make a quick comment to the team, I think, I'm grateful to Mike for bringing this to our attention, because I think maybe there's a resource document or that we can put together for new committee members, especially those who are not, a principal, a superintendent, instructor, et cetera, that maybe shows a little bit of an organizational chart and some of the terminology that we use. So thank you for bringing that forth, and we appreciate the support.
Thank you.
And Mike, I also wanted to say we appreciate what you do in Shelby County and for working with the work-based learning. Of course, as you know, our team over the past couple of years has done some very in-depth, detailed work on that new work-based learning manual, which really helps guide the employer through that. And then with Deputy Secretary Brindley, we've also been doing some work on the work-based learning ecosystem, which hopefully is going to come to fruition, hopefully by the end of next year anyway. Another thing, being that we have so many new members, we kind of refer to it sometimes as CTE 101. And our team is more than happy to whether meet in person or do a virtual call with any members or actually anyone that's listening, that if you would just like to be able to formulate those questions and get them to us and we can talk it out, we would love to be able to do that.
That's great. Thank you.
Mark, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying just listening and learning more. And thank you for clarifying on the verbiage. Just sharing a little bit from the school side, and I'll be very succinct. Maybe at a future meeting, I'd love to talk more about our partnerships with industry and some of the things we're trying to do innovatively here in Meade County to connect our workforce with post-secondary education, and how we've kind of created some positions to do so. But I did collaborate with my principal at our Meade County College Career Center and our associate superintendent of instruction, just saying what's going well from the school side, what are some next steps that you all see, and I'm just going to briefly share some of their feedback. Going well, industry certifications and dual credit opportunities are expanding for students, and we're seeing that bear fruit in Meade County. Next steps, navigating accountability. Just all avenues to post-secondary readiness are not always the same. I think it's contingent on your community, and just using work-based learning appropriately for accountability would be a recommended next step for growth. So thank you again for being on the committee, and just wanting to share a little bit of what my team is telling me here in Meade County.
Thank you so much. And I will say, the state operated centers do have those supervisors that go in, and really that's one of the things that they can do is help be that liaison between the office and the local community, that ATC. And so, I think, and we so appreciate Meade County Area Technology Center and all of the work that you've done really to integrate them within your overall Meade County school district. So we appreciate that. And I think that's a really good point. And again, we're going to work on that and hopefully bring that to fruition over the next year as well. So thank you. We will most certainly be in touch.
Any other questions or feedback from the team, either on the presentation or being a member of this work group, or something more general?
I'll say we will work on the resource document and then our CTE kind of 101 rundown that we have. I would very much appreciate it if any of the board members had a specific question. If you would let us know, you can email me, Reagan Satterwhite, at education.ky.gov, and I will get it to our whole team. But if there's a burning question or just a general topic in CTE that you'd like to know more about, we would like to help you. So please send it our direction.
Excuse me, this is Mike Stone. The call for presentations for the 2024 CTE summer program, July 8th through the 11th in Louisville at the Galt House, is now available online at kyact.org. Presentations are welcome on anything that you think that teachers need to know more about. We'll have about 1,900 attendants in all the program pathways, and we are encouraging submissions. They will be can be submitted until February 1st. And we have also been very excited that last week we got confirmation of our keynote speaker, John O'Leary, a tremendous inspirational presenter that we are very much looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, thank you so much. I was expecting to hear that update from you, so I'm happy you piped in. Next on the agenda, we just want to talk about the scheduling of our spring 2024 meeting. We typically wait and do that in May so that the legislative session has ended, and that we have some time to gather information from that and provide you all with a robust update. But also it is really appropriate for some good and deep discussions about next steps and other relevant information. So with so many people remote and also with some folks missing, rather than looking at our calendars right now, I'm going to propose that maybe after Thanksgiving, but certainly before the Christmas holiday, if you all will send out a doodle poll so we can identify the best time in May for us all to get together, and we will continue with this hybrid format. You are welcome to join in person in Frankfurt. That is where I would have preferred to be today, but my schedule didn't allow. But it's always nice to be in person. And if any of you can make that journey, we invite you to do so. But otherwise, please join us virtually. So we'll get that out to you all early next week, or before the end of, I'm sorry, sometime after next week, but before Christmas, if that works out for everybody. Seeing no objections, I'm just going to say thank you so much. This almost hour has gone by really quickly, and I know we all appreciate when the meetings aren't exactly back to back, because many of us probably have at 2 o'clock. But I'm really excited about those of you who have joined us, those of you who have returned, and really appreciate the questions. And I hope this sets a precedent for our future meetings. Beth said, this is not intended to be a sit and get. We are an advisory board, so we want to hear from you. We want to engage in discussion. We want to have questions, and we want to hear recommendations. We do only meet twice a year, as we are respectful of everybody's time. But if there's important information in between, we also send that out and provide updates so that everybody is in the know. So team, before I ask for an adjournment, does anybody in Frankfurt have any last words?
I think we're good.
All right, well then I wish everybody a happy and wonderful Thanksgiving. We will do adjournment by acclamation. So is everybody okay with adjourning? Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you all very much.